in 2007 that is seen as being excessively lenient. Mr. Acosta is expected to speak about the case soon. We are joined now, though, by former Assistant U.S. Attorney Kim Wehle. Kim, thank you so much for joining us. Talk us through why the controversy around Alex Acosta when he was prosecutor in this case.
So there were numerous women or girls that were involved in this alleged sex trafficking scheme. Mr. Epstein had very powerful lawyers and has a lot of money and is well connected politically. And it's reported that Mr. Acosta, as U.S. Attorney for Miami, felt pressured to give him what most people believe is a sweetheart deal. He ended up not only with 13 months in prison, but he was able to come and go to his local office. In addition, he got a non-prosecution deal. That is, that he was essentially immunized from broader charges relating to that very sad situation. And then in addition, Mr. Acosta did not let the victims know that this deal was coming down the pike, and a federal judge has held that actually violates federal laws protecting victims' rights. So there's a lot of pieces to it that show or suggest that it's money and influence that got him this deal, not justice.
Now, he's addressed or tried to address some of this on Twitter. We're waiting to hear from him, his first remarks on television shortly. He's not expected to resign. What do you think we might hear from him?
Well, we're in a world these days where, you know, sexual misconduct allegations, including against the President of the United States, we now have, 22 women who have come forward, tend to get a general shrug from our sort of populace or our social order. And so I think Mr. Acosta will make that determination based on if he gets any kind of pressure, how much political pressure there is, and hang on with the objective of hanging on to his office. In the old days, this kind of a scandal would probably produce a resignation, but these days, I think the question is whether there will be sufficient public pressure to resign. And the broader question has to be, I think, what kind of people we want in elected and appointed offices at the federal level. Is it something that warrants someone with integrity, someone who is going to work for the will of the people, or at least have that perception? I think here there's a problem with respect to Mr. Acosta's decisions in Miami. They weren't necessarily illegal, but they're problematic, and we'll just have to see. My guess is, go ahead.
Kim, that's interesting because, you know, we're living in a time where everybody's talking about Me Too and the idea that actually cases like this are coming to light and that people who act badly towards young women are being charged. And yet here you seem to be suggesting that we have a case where people can act with impunity.
Well, we'll have to see. I mean, this, like I said, Mr. Acosta himself is not on trial. He was not charged with anything. He's not a criminal defendant like Mr. Epstein is. We saw Harvey Weinstein fall in terms of his career with respect to these kind of sexual allegations. The question here is Mr. Acosta's association with a plea deal, essentially, that the Southern District of New York has revisited with these new charges. The idea being this conduct is not okay. It was so bad that there has to be a greater penalty. Of course, people in America who don't have that kind of access to money, to good lawyers, end up, you know, serving time for much smaller or less severe criminal wrongdoing. We'll just have to see. As I mentioned, Mr. Acosta, I think these days could survive this political fallout with very few repercussions, if any. And I think that's something we have to think about. Yes.
We shall see soon. For now, though, Kim Wehle, thank you very much for your time.